Hello everyone, welcome back to Tina Teach IELTS Grammar. Today's lesson is about definite article, the part 2, an extension of the previous lesson because we have a lot to go in today. Let's move on to the first part, use cases, continuing with the use case number 7. Okay, the is used before a certain proper names of seas, rivers, groups of islands, chains of mountains, plural names of countries, deserts, and different regions. For example, the Atlantic, the Netherlands, the Sahara, the Alps, the Thames. If you've been reading a lot of English material, you've certainly come across these names. They are very, sort of well-known names of different areas, different regions, okay? So you can most certainly use the for them. And when you speak in a conversation, you can say, oh, last year I went to the Netherlands for a vacation. Or, my sister really wanted to go to the Sahara, okay? And you can apply the same rule before other certain names as well. The city, right? The city and the mall, I just want to add a little bit of a reminder because some places, they do call themselves the city, the mall, right? And you can refer to these as actual names instead of nouns, right? They serve as both noun, oh, I went to the city yesterday, or as names, have you been to the city, right? And it could be, just like a touristic place or something like that. The Yemen, the Sudan, okay? The is also used before names consisting of the structure noun plus of plus another noun. Okay, so noun, connector of, and then another noun. Very popularly, the United States of America, the Gulf of Mexico. Okay, so you've certainly heard these two names before, and that is another example of how the can also be used. Okay, let's move on to the next part. The is used before names consisting of the structure adjective plus noun. However, given that the adjective is not east or west, or south or north or any of those directional terms. So we're just dealing with east, west, north, south as adjectives, okay? We're not dealing with them as anything else, just adjective, and they aren't, they're not applicable with the over here. The Arabian Gulf, okay? The New Forest, the High Street. Well, the High Street and the Arabian Gulf are actual places. I'm not sure about the New Forest, but I'm sure that any establishment or organization can name themselves the New Forest as a company name, and it serves as a name, and it is applicable to the in this case. Next up, the is used before the adjectives east and west. Okay, now this time we can go with east, west, north, south being adjectives plus a noun in certain names. For example, the East, the West Indies, the South Pole. Now with these, you're just sort of telling the other person these general area, right? For example, he's been studying the history of the East, or she is really into the Western region. However, there is a case where the is omitted, okay, in for South Africa, for North America, for West Germany, and so on and so forth. You don't say the South Africa, okay, or the North America. You say the East, the West Indies, but South Africa and North America and West Germany without the alone, okay? Now, this may be a little bit confusing, a little bit overwhelming, like if you just come in here and you don't really have much background, or you've just been listening to English for a while but you haven't really delved into grammar, this may feel like a little bit nitpicky, right? It feels like the is very picky, even though it is so universal. But the more you practice, the more you listen, you will see that naturally you'll take on these rules without recognizing them. Next up, let's move on to use case number 8. The is used before other proper names, consisting of adjectives plus nouns, or noun plus the word of, and then noun. For example, the National Gallery, the Tower of London, okay? It is also used before names of choirs, pop groups, like TV shows, stuff like that, the Back Choir, the Beatles, and before names of newspapers as well. The Times, the Great Britain, the New York Times, for example. So let's go through our lesson one last time, a quick review before we end it, okay? Let's start from the top. Use case number 7, okay? The is used before certain proper names of seas, rivers, groups of islands, chains of mountains, plural names of countries, deserts, and different regions. The Atlantic, the Netherlands, the Sahara, the Alps, and the Thames, and before other certain names as well. The city, the mall, the Yemen, the Sudan. The is also used before names consisting of the structure noun plus of plus noun. The United States of America, the Gulf of Mexico. Now, the is used for names consisting of the adjective plus noun, given that the adjective is not directional. For example, east, west, north, south, the Arabian Gulf, the New Forest, the High Street. Now, the is also used before, the adjectives east, west, north, south, so on and so forth, plus a noun in certain names. The East, the West Indies, the South Pole, but is normally omitted with names such as South Africa, North America, West Germany, okay? Now the last part, when east, west, north, south, so on are nouns, you can combine them with the West, the Middle East, the north of Spain. Use case number 8, the is used before other proper names consisting of the structure adjective plus nouns, or noun plus of plus noun, as you've seen before. The National Gallery, the Tower of London. It is also used before names of choirs, pop groups, like K-pop groups, the Back Choir, the Beatles, and before names of newspapers, the Times, the Great Britain, okay? Obviously, there are certain exceptions because we're dealing with names here. And sometimes, businesses, establishments, or people don't want to be called with the in it. They just want, the name. So instead of saying the Tower of London, we may say Tower of London, okay? If that is the common way of saying it. So really with names, it's sort of, it needs familiarity. You may hit or miss if you just simply go by like grammar rule or technical rules, but in examinations, obviously, it's best to go with the grammatically correct one. Okay, now that's it for today's lesson. Thank you for watching until the end, and I really, really appreciate you doing that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment anything that you're curious about or not sure. Our next topic is going to be dealing with the opposite of our lesson for today, which is the omission of the. So learn today, better tomorrow, and thank you for watching.